Hi guys, welcome to a webinar. I'm Sebastian, chapter leader on Travel Massive Life, and today we are going to learn how to differentiate your your adventure travel brand with Phil Sylvester, head of PR and Mediacom at World Nomads Group. So this webinar will be followed by a quick Q&A question session. So if you have any question, please write it down and ask at the end of the presentation. So Phil, when you're ready.
Thank you very much, Seb. That's great. My name always sounds much better with a foreign accent than an Australian one. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good day, wherever you are around this great, big, beautiful planet of ours. Look, let's get stuck straight into it, will you? I know people watching today are going to be at different levels of progress in developing their travel business. Some of you may just have a great idea and are in startup mode. You may have a small business that you're looking to grow, or you may be working in or even the owner of a well-developed and successful travel business. I hope you are. I'll try not to teach you all how to suck eggs throughout this today. What I want to do is talk about some basic principles about making a successful travel brand. And then we'll have some fun looking at examples that I think are inspiring and from which I believe you can get some ideas for tactics that you can employ in your own business. So it's going to be a very practical element to this as well. I'll include my brand here, although it's not my brand, I'm an employee. Not by way of pitching us, but obviously it's the business that I know best. And I think we've built a pretty amazing brand in the last dozen years, especially in the last half dozen. And the tactics we've used are actually not that tricky. So let's get stuck in them and see how you can do them too. It's pretty simple, really. You want to be profitable, you want to be successful, you want people to choose your business over someone else's. Maybe you have a mission, you want to change the world through your brand by developing ecotourism or responsible tourism, good on you. You want to increase your profit or lower costs or increase prices. For a lot of people, this is their business plan. Build it and they will come. Sorry, no, they will not. Oh, come on, people, you're saying this is a 100% corn-fed, eco-friendly baseball field, handmade. You won't find better around these parts. Nope, still not coming. And here's why not. You have a product or a service to sell, we all do, and it's easy to talk about the product. Look at this, it's so shiny, feel the width, my product's so good, much better than theirs. But if you're focusing on selling your product and its benefits, then you're falling into the trap of commoditization. Here's an example. I don't know if it's happening in your town right now, but kids are going nuts for these fidget spinners in my city. I'm in Sydney, Australia. By the way, this is commoditization at lightning speed. I bought one for my son about 3 weeks ago and it cost me $15. It's plastic and it's red and it came in a very nice box. Today, you can buy an even better one from eBay for $1.29, including postage. There has to be more than $1.29's worth of materials in there, but plus postage. So why would you pay $15 for one of those? So think about how you are currently trying to differentiate your travel brand. I bet you London to a brick that you're talking about your product. Jeff Toole, business strategist and best-selling author writing for Forbes, said, self-commoditization can significantly threaten just about any company's success and profitability. But if you can't talk about the product to differentiate your brand, what can you talk about? You can talk about your why. In 2009, a marketing consultant, motivational speaker, and academic, a fellow called Simon Sinek, released this book called Start With Why. In September of the same year, he was invited to present a TED Talk about how great leaders inspire action using the findings of Start With Why. The poorly lit, badly shot video with crap audio is the third most viewed TED Talk ever with, nearly 33 million views. When I was first shown the video in 2010, not long after, by the founder of World Nomads, actually, it totally transformed the way I work. I rewatch this video at least once a year, sometimes more if I hit a roadblock. And I hope if you watch it as well, it's the best 18 minutes you can spend in your life. It will probably do the same for you and your brand. The nub of it is this. Sinek devised the golden circle. He says people are motivated to do what they do by these three things, the what, the how, and the why. Everyone in the world knows what they do. If I met you at a party, I'd probably ask you, what do you do? Oh, I'm a journalist, or I'm a banker. And you'd be able to tell me how you do it. Oh, I interview people and tell their stories in the paper, or, I take people's savings, reinvest them, and share the profit I make. But very few people can explain why they do that. That's the really hard part. The majority of people in the world think from the outside in. They think what, how, why. Simon Sinek's proposition that all the successful people in the world, all the successful business and the inspiring leaders have one thing in common, that they think from the inside out, that they start with why. Successful brands start by defining their purpose, by expressing and codifying what it is that explains why they even exist. And this works, he says, because it's an undeniable human trait that that people will follow you because of what you believe. They will buy your product because they believe in what you stand for. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it, he said. If you start at the outside and work your way in, you're commoditizing your product. You're saying this is what it does and how it does it. And by the time you get to why, if you ever get there, you're standing in the middle of a baseball field where you used to grow corn, talking to no one and sending your family bankrupt. They're not going to come when you build it. Of course, if you stayed awake long enough to see the end of Kevin Costner's film, you'll know that they did come in the end. Kevin's character, Ray Kinsella, doesn't know it, but he was using Sinek's golden circle. He started with why. Kinsella believed the 8 Chicago White Sox baseball players were banned in 1919 for match-fixing allegations that were not true. The men he believed ought to be cleared, then his father would love him as well, by the way. What did he do? He built a baseball diamond for them in his cornfield. It was level and green, regulation size with great lights. Look at it, it's beautiful. People believed what Kinsella believed and they came. And he discovered that his dad had loved him all along. Sorry about the spoiler. Should have put an alert on that. Oh, by the way, the Field of Dreams is a real place. Somebody has actually built this. And people do go. And someone bought the original movie set and have turned it into a tourist attraction. And people sure do turn up there all the time because they believe in the why. They believe in Kevin Costner's movie and they believe in baseball and they love it, so they turn up. So here we go. Let's start getting into some things that you can do. That's the premise of what we do at World Nomads. We make sure we sell our why. So how do you discover your why? It's hard, no denying that. And to make it easier, it should be part of the natural building of a strategy. You've got to develop your mission statement, work out your customer proposition, work out what's your promise to them, try to encapsulate what your business is about. And here's a good thing to do. Try doing that, first of all, in a paragraph, and then do it in 30 words, and then try and do that in one line. Write that down. That's a really good way of getting right down to what your mission is about. You've got to ask yourself, what is the problem we're trying to solve? Is it a problem people care about? If not, how do we make them care about it? How can we show that the product is the best solution to this problem? Ultimately, determine why people should care about what you do. Okay, let's get into some examples here of travel brands that I think have got this right, and some standout brands who have all worked out what their mission is and do a very good job of explaining what their why is as well. First one, and I love these guys, this is Kentucky. Perhaps one of the best articulated missions and philosophies of any travel brand. It goes on for pages and pages of them explaining their why, but it's fantastic. And it's all summed up in that one hashtag that they've got. Hashtag no regrets. I think that's absolutely brilliant. Don't regret going on that trip. Don't regret that extra drink you had. Don't regret the choices that you made. Through that, they've built a community that's very engaged. No Regrets is right on the money with their target audience, the younger traveller who doesn't want to regret anything yet. And they blog about their purpose and their philosophy all the time. And this is what's called content marketing at its best. And I'll get into content marketing in a minute. I'm sure you are all aware of it, but we'll revisit it in a moment. the Hans Brinker Hostel. This is an amazing success story. A man with a great sense of humour and a good marketing brain, a fellow called Peter van der Zee, took on this ailing Amsterdam hostel, and he's turned it into an amazing success story. The owners did some customer surveys, and the answers they received about the hostel and the service they provided made it clear that this hostel was probably one of the worst in the business. It had a reputation as cheap and nasty. But instead of running away from that, they decided they were going to embrace that. They realised their target audience actually valued cheap over nasty, and were in fact prepared to accept a fair bit of nasty for cheap. They really understood who their target audience was. Cheapskate young people with a sense of adventure, a high tolerance for risk and dirt, and with an overriding motivation to save money. Vying for best is a crowded space. Hans Brinker owns awful. Their advertising warns of no hot water, sparse rooms and filthy conditions. And I especially love this advert. If you spent any time in a hostel, you've seen this guy. Too cheap to afford to do his laundry, probably too intent on having a good time to even pack one in the first place. The absolute beauty of this marketing is how it lowers expectations, and their target market absolutely love it. I'll just give you a moment to take this one. This is how they advertise their bar and restaurant. They're little milk sachets that you get for free that somebody's decided to transform into their breakfast. Cheap and nasty, but right on the money. Visit Norway did a great job. I really liked this one as well. They wanted to showcase their wide open spaces, their natural environment, and the fact that they encourage people to go wherever they want. In fact, there are no fences in the country. Well, there are fences, but people are allowed to go wherever they wish when they're hiking. So they wanted to highlight that. So what they did was they took a few sheep and they strapped GoPros onto them. And there's this practice where the shepherds every year during summer will let the sheep wander wherever they wish to go. So now you've got three very different animals. Here's Lars, the foodie, allowed to go wherever they want. And the great thing about this, they really understood their market. They've got a digital savvy millennial audience who loved being able to log on and locate the sheep and then go to the camera and see what the sheep were seeing. The why that they've got there is Norway equals freedom. And here, meanwhile, at the bottom of the page are all the lovely things you can do while being free in Norway. This campaign was a great success amongst their target audience. I don't think it got a lot of mainstream media, but it was very, very popular with their target audience within the type of media scape where they inhabit, the type of media they consume. Airbnb is often quoted as a great standout travel brand, and they are, but I think that's a lot more to do with the fact that they were a disruptive brand, that they created a category that they now own. But in 2014, they changed their logo, and their CMO said that this was the moment the company went from being a very successful property listings company to a culturally driven brand. Talk about finding out what your why is. We're not a property lister anymore. That's our product. What we are a culturally driven brand about everything that we do. That's of course reflected in their marketing, which is very much about their the purpose of don't go there, live there, which speaks to the strong desire to seek out unique and authentic travel experiences. Belong anywhere is a great marketing slogan and also a terrific why to emphasize. And of course, lately their belong pro-gay marriage stance and the incomplete wedding ring. It's a perfect fit for them. It's like we won't be complete until everybody belongs. Very good. New Zealand tourism, absolutely brilliant. They've been doing this for a while and they keep hitting the money here. The 100% pure campaign. New Zealand Tourism Authority doesn't sell New Zealand. They sell adventure. They sell purity. They sell beauty and friendliness. Just happens to be in New Zealand. This is a great one here. Clever use of the bungee there, the bungee jump. I really love that when it says clean, pure, and exciting, doesn't it? That's great. A work colleague of mine recently went into the Patagonia store here in Sydney, Australia. He's their target market. He does free diving, you know, hold your breath for 5 minutes and dive as deep as you can. No tanks, no air. Yeah. Anyway, let me just show you a little bit what he said about his experience there, and I do apologise. They're his photos, so they're not super high quality. But this is what Andy said. Patagonia do a lot right. I go there to sit in their lounge sometimes and leaf through a few mags and books. They're upfront with their values and have documented them over time and make cool little booklets and collections to sprinkle around the shop and lounge. You can walk around like a sort of museum between the retail racks. Upfront political signage, protect our rights, brand books, tools for grassroots activists, and let my people go surfing. Effort, we love you anyway. Booklets of uncool people fishing and having a durry. A durry, that's Australian for cigarette, by the way. I'm sure, and Andy says, I'm sure it wouldn't perform on Instagram. And then he says, there's a brand lounge where you can hang out for a bit, populated by stuff they like. Take coffee and decompress from the headache of the city. He goes on, as I took the shots, the 27-year-old ultra-marathon runner completing her MBA in urban development assistant gave me an impromptu talk on the history of the company. She knew her stuff. It's good. I like their come and hang out with us in a clubhouse next to a workshop where we repair broken stuff and stick to our guns as best we can kind of vibe. Very, but right on the money there. Patagonia do a great job of selling their why in everything they do. Selling your why. Once you've worked out your purpose and what your why is, it's time to get down to some tactics and start selling it. Remember, sell the why, not the product. Let's talk tactics. And first one I alluded to before is content marketing. Content and the marketing of that content has played a large part in the success of World Nomads and those other brands we just looked at as well. Good content gives people a reason to come to your site and learn about your business. But it's important to sell your why with your content, not just the product. So make it about what you believe in, not the product. Create content that speaks to your shared purpose, that articulates what you believe in and helps confirm in the consumer that what they believe is right, and that you share that with them as well. You share that belief. Just in case you haven't drunk the Kool-Aid of content marketing, here's a definition. If you persistently and consistently provide compellingly useful content, you will build long-term trust and affinity with your audience, and they will reward that by buying your product. Another central to content marketing is central to creating that good magnetic content is the concept of what Jay Baer, the content marketing guru, calls utility. Jay says there are only two ways for companies to break through in the modern landscape. They can be amazing or they can be useful. He says, what instead of trying to be amazing with all your crazy adverts and your stunts, what if you just focused on being useful? What if you decided to inform rather than promote? Jay calls utility marketing so useful, people would pay for it if you asked them to do so. I don't want people to buy my marketing. I just want them to buy my brand and understand why we do what we do, he says. Another tactic we've used very effectively, and you can do this too, is to build some brand pillars. And then make sure that those pillars speak to the why of your business. We articulate it through 6 pillars that we have here. That is, we seek experiences, we learn skills, we connect with locals, we stay safe and informed, we give back, and then we share our stories. Through that as well, you can go on to the next tactic of building your community. This is actually easier than it sounds. Okay, it's still pretty hard work, but remember, people will follow you if they believe what you believe in too. So if you're already producing content that provides utility and speaks to what they believe in, you've done the hard work. Now all you have to do is carry through on the content, on the marketing side of content marketing, and go out there and tell them about it. Market your marketing and you'll build a community. And you do that by amplifying your message through paid, owned and earned media channels. Get this even half right and your community will find you. You don't have to go find them. At Nomads, we rely heavily on organic results. It's cheaper to do, of course. So SEO is important, and all those things that I've just spoken about, refer to that as well. A lot of our community find us through organic search results, and we get that traffic from content that is our owned media, our blogs and scholarships and social media. But eventually you're going to have to pay to play, and I'm sure many of you are bidding on keywords on Google. But can I ask you, as a tactic, ask you to also consider RLSA? It stands for Remarketing Lists for Search Ads. Instead of targeting keywords, you can target audiences with it. You create the audiences like we have on this slide here, or segments, and then by putting AdWord pixels on different parts of your site, if you want to make a segment of people who have already bought your product, you can put it on the thank you page on your checkout. You can create audiences of people who've abandoned your shopping cart, or visitors who didn't purchase, or any combination you want. You can see a lot of them there on that chart. And then you tell Google, if it sees that customer, to up the bid for that keyword. If you bid up sufficiently, of course, your ad is more likely to appear. So do go and investigate that. That's a tactic that's been working very well for us. Earned media, obviously social media mentions are important for engagement with your community, but every mention in social or in the regular media as well is earned media. But you're missing a trick there if you don't pay attention to that little fella I've marked there. That's press coverage or media coverage. This is my patch. I'm now the working as the head of PR and media comms, so I can talk about this all day under wet concrete. But let me just try to break it down a bit for you. Yeah. In the same way that social proof or friends' recommendations influence the purchasing decision, having your brand talked about in high domain authority, trusted websites will signal to people that your brand is also to be trusted. Interestingly, this is exactly the way Google works too. How does it know your content on your site is to be trusted as relevant for search results? It looks at signals from other sites it already trusts. And which sites have the highest domain authority? The New York Times has a domain authority of 99 out of 100. CNN scores 96. Huffington Post, 94. Clearly, you need to get your brand talked about in these publications. But how do you do that? Here's my my favorite tactic: kill the media release. Never ever write another press release ever again. Press releases are almost always about product and product benefits. The news media are not interested in them. But if you can't talk about your product, what can you talk about? Oh yeah, that's right, your why. Create stories around the topics that address the things you believe in, and pitch those stories to the reporters, bloggers, and influencers. Give them something to talk about or write about that is a shared belief. And then use the tactics of content marketing instead of a press release blast. Hit those newsmakers with ideas that they find compellingly useful. Build affinity with them, make them part of your community, and they'll reward you by talking about your brand in their pieces on high domain authority websites. Start thinking about selling them your why as well, instead of talking about your product. Look, if you want to know a little bit more about this, a bit of self-promotion here. I have collaborated with Trendkite to create a newsjacking playbook. I'm actually a 25 plus year broadcast journalist veteran. So I've sort of taken what I've learned from there and what I've been doing here at Nomads in the last 7 years or so, and sort of melded those together and start finding ways to get our product, get our brand talked about in the media through newsjacking. You can just Google newsjacking, and there's plenty of it around there as well if you want. One more tactic I really encourage everybody to get right is to get your page craft right. And by that I mean the metadata and the SEO attributes on your page. As I said, I came to this business from a broadcast journalism background, and I created a lot of content where the page craft wasn't the best it could be. We fixed that, and that contributed to a doubling of traffic to the travel safety pages. And that was simply because we fixed the SEO hygiene on all the content. We made sure the H1 was the correct length, that the meta description was there, that the summary was there, and there are character lengths that go with all those as well. And if you have a look at this, you can see all the elements that I'm talking about there. Now, all these elements help boost your search engine results. Now, Google loves a result that has all the right character limits for optimal display in the page, and nothing runs over, and it's all in the right place, that shows up very well on a page with no dots at the end. The meta description, a good clear URL. I won't bore you with the details, but here's another great tip, another great tactic. You can get, there are several around, but this is my favorite one. Get this tool from SEO Mofo. It explains all the character limits and gives you a chance to try out variations and actually see what they'll look like on a results page. So you can adjust them to make sure you're going to get exactly the right thing. Similarly, make sure you complete all the alt information and other data for images when you put them up as well. Google does look at those. Look, writing for SEO is part science, part art. If you rely on the science, the content will generally be pretty dull, be crap, and it won't read like good content. But if you rely on the art alone, it may not rank. So sorry, but you're going to have to learn to be a wizard at both of those, art and science. Great tool, SEO Mofo. Another tactic, inbound marketing. I spent quite a bit of time looking at those video sales letters, most of which are trying to sell you a product about making a better video sales letter. But if those guys can sell you a bit of an app or a bit of content, if they can sell you a set of steak knives in addition, then they're doing a pretty good job. So you're writing great content, you're amplifying it through paid, owned and earned. The page craft is sweet. SEO is helping hundreds of searchers find you. The traffic is flooding through the door. What do you do now? This is inbound marketing, you convert them. The inbound marketing methodology is to attract an audience, turn some of them into visitors, turn some of them into leads, and some of them into customers. And by delighting them with your product and service, because you've learned to talk about your why, you can turn them into advocates or promoters of your product. Your success at completing these conversions will depend on the customer journey, where in the decision making and purchasing journey your customers are at any one time. There's lots of funnels. Here's the sales funnel, of course. But at World Nomads, we've kind of mashed together the inbound marketing funnel and the sales funnel into our own unique user journey, which we call the onion. The journey starts out on what we call the passive dreaming stage, just thinking about travel, looking for inspiration, maybe no clear decision of where to travel next, just engaging in their favorite topic, talking about travel. Think of that as the outer layer of the onion, and what we in the office here we call travel porn. Then you move into the active dreaming stage, where they've made a decision to definitely travel. Maybe there's a particular destination or experience they want, an activity they want to do. You know, like, oh, mountain biking in Morocco looks excellent. Then they start gathering information. When's the best time to go? When can I learn from the experience? What can I learn from the experience of other nomads who've been? And this is where they might start thinking about language and destination guides. And their research may dig up some safety concerns, so they start checking out those safety issues. What about the crime? Is it safe to go? Should I be worried? Satisfied with all this, they move into the booking stage. But if you look at that same onion through the inbound marketing lens, out at the travel porn stage, there's no point for us, whilst they're just dreaming about a destination, of trying to sell them travel insurance. Oh, look at this beautiful picture of a waterfall. Want to buy travel insurance? That's not going to work out there. That's selling your product again there. It's not the right time or place to make a conversion. Instead, what we plan to do is to make what we call micro conversions, where we move them down to the next layer of the onion. Look at this beautiful waterfall. It's in Trinidad. Want to know some more about Trinidad? Chunk, down a level of the onion. You can do these amazing adventures in Trinidad. Have a look. But check out our advice on doing them safely. Chunk, next level. Is it safe to go to Trinidad? Thanks for asking. Make sure you're informed with this information, and you might want to consider getting yourself some insurance in case those things do happen to you. Down one more level. Yep, we cover that. Want a quote on the price? And now if you look at the onion from the content perspective, what content do we have or do we need to create to fill those layers of the onion? Photo essays at the outer layer, travel safety pieces closer in, a bit of product information very close to the center of the onion. You've moved people down in those micro conversions. Here's our user journey, by the way. Let's just go this across the top. There's our passive dreaming, active dreaming, info gathering, booking, traveling, returning home, and then sharing and bragging about it. And each stage is aligned to our why or our purposes we outline. They were trying to inspire, inform, support, and get them to share. And I won't dwell on this one, but here's all our content pieces that we have in World Nomads that that deliver on that purpose. What have we got? How can we fill those layers of the onion, the content onion there? What content do we have? And then once you've got that, you need to build yourself a channel plan. So that type of content that we have, what is the best channel for delivering that to people? I mean, this is very colourful and a little bit confusing and a lot of information to take in at one time, but you can actually build one of these for your own brand. This actually took about at least 3 months of work, but if you don't think you can do it, you can get an external content strategy agency to come in and do it for you. But I do urge you to give it a go yourself. It helps you understand your business better. Even if you don't succeed, you'll be able to give the external agency a better brief to finish it off for you. One more tactic, lead generation. I think we all know the value of a great email list, but convincing people to hand over their details can be hard. They know they're going on a marketing list. They have to see the value of the transaction. But if you're using the methodologies I've outlined there, using content marketing and selling your why, not your product, and you've got plenty of ideas for high utility content that a user would pay for, they're going to pay for it with their email, and you build a nice list. We started off repurposing existing content in a small essentials guide, the essentials guide to Thailand. People can download a copy in exchange for an email and a little information about their travel intent, which, yes, we use that to remarket to them. We now create bespoke content specifically for a comprehensive insider's guide, and we follow our brand pillar and our onion strategy, of course. These guides drive thousands of leads into our database, and the beauty about them is they don't last 1 week. They just keep building and building. So it costs a little bit of money to make them at first, but then they're just out there, a little bit of promotion behind them, and they will keep finding you leads and keep generating you income. Even more lucrative is our scholarships program. The latest travel writing scholarship got us about 8,000 entries. That's all of them very valuable leads. Historically, our scholarships database includes our most loyal customers, people who have bought multiple policies, 10 or more. I think there's one bloke who's bought like 50. These are people who share our beliefs and they really understand our purpose. They're worth millions of dollars to us, and we're continuing to grow that database. I hope that gives you an idea of some of the tactics we're using to make our brand stand out. And you'll see, I don't think they're too difficult for people. I hope you can get the same success with them that we've had as well. Just one final resource, if you're interested in finding out a bit more about Start With Why, an interesting piece by referralcandy.com. Some mission statements Simon Sinek would approve of. By the way, this is marvelous content marketing by Referral Candy as well. Giving you something compellingly useful that you're going to enjoy and hopefully reward them with your business. Go and have a look. I'm not sure all of them hit the nail on the head. It's a tough process to build a mission statement and to think about starting with why, but some of these ideas may help you. So if you want to differentiate your adventure travel brand, be a brand, not a product. I want you to stand for something and give your community something to believe in. And I'm pretty sure that if you build that, they will come. Thanks, everybody. I hope that wasn't too much too fast. I hope you get some things out of that. Seb?
No, Phil, it was amazing, really. It was great. What I'm going to do is I'm going to unmute everybody. If you guys have any question or anything, just feel free to ask.
That's it. I've stumped you all. That's it.
Thank you very much, Phil. Thank you very much.
My pleasure. No worries.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, guys, any question?
No, all good. All right. Look, can I just think, I just need to encourage you all to go and have a look at some of those brands I mentioned, and don't forget, like differentiating an adventure travel brand. I was actually very pleased to be invited to speak about that, because that means that we're considered to be an adventure travel brand when, Big tip, everybody. We sell travel insurance. we're actually a travel insurance company, you know, but we believe in what we do. You know, part of our mission statement is that, you know, we are nomads as well, and we're like-minded travelers, and we want to be your constant companion, and it makes it a really exciting place to work. Everybody's drunk very deeply of the Kool-Aid that is available at the entrance when you come in. We really do believe it, and it makes it a really enjoyable experience to come and work for a company where things like this are articulated so well, and you can actually stand for something, and you can actually have something that you can believe in and share. So I really do encourage you to find those things and try and make them work in your own businesses.
Yeah.
Very useful information. I appreciate it very much. We'll get some tips out of it. Thank you.
And if you're after any brands or any books that Phil mentioned, you can always go back to the video. I'll send a link as soon as this webinar is finished.
Okay.
Fantastic. Thank you. I'm going to go home and have dinner with my family now, or wherever you are in the world. I hope you're having a good day.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Phil. You guys have a good day. See you. Bye.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ciao.